Wow. Do you want to come over and take my pants off?
All right, folks, I got a banger for you today. So we got the 2025 Nissan 400Z. We've got the brand new Model 3 Performance, and we have the 2025 revised GR Corolla. And this is the Premium Plus version. I'm going to talk about the benefits of each of these vehicles, what each one does best, and then I'm going to drive all of them. Now, in my opinion here, this is probably the worst looking front end of the three. It's not terrible on its own, but in comparison to these three, I think it's the worst. Now, the best looking front end, potentially the Model 3 Performance here, but ultimately, I mean, look at this. Look at all the updated aero, the vents, the GR badging. I mean, everything about this 2025 Corolla is incredible. And it's also crazy that these vehicles in these trim levels all cost about the same. And that is why I'm comparing them today. Now, the horsepower leader is this one by far, 510 horsepower, and it's all-wheel drive just like the GR Corolla. The Z is rear-wheel drive only. But what these two offer is a manual transmission, and then you have the Model 3, which doesn't even have a transmission, so that's kind of crazy. Now, onto the wheels. The GR4 has a square setup here. You can see it's wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4 summer tires. These things are incredible, and this is on a really small 18-inch rally wheel. When you go over to the Model 3, it's a staggered setup. It has 20-inch forged wheels. These things only weigh 20 pounds, extremely light, and in the rear, you're rocking 275, so they're kind of thick in the rear. Then we go over to the Z. All wheels on these cars look great. The Z might take the cake though. These are Ray's forged wheels, you can see there. And these are just beautiful. Plus, I love the little touch of Nissan written on the red brake calipers. That looks great, as well as when we come up front. I like that it says Nissan instead of like Brembo or something. That's kind of cool. Have some pride, Nissan. And then you have this beautiful blue color, which looks great. The rear of the Corolla is by far the smallest. It's a little hatchback here, so you can't really expect much. The Model 3 has a really nice trunk space, plus you have the feature of the sub-trunk, which is a really nice use of space, and then you have extra storage on these sides as well. So it has really, ergonomically, the Model 3 is the best of these. Now, no matter which Model 3 you get, they all have this glass panoramic roof, and instead of getting an expensive ceramic tint on my roof, I went with this sunshade from Vion. It has a dual layer fabric that effectively blocks 95% of ultraviolet rays, and it's only $59 and fits perfectly and is easy to install and uninstall, and you can store it in the sub-trunk of your Tesla Model 3. It fits incredibly well and never slides around. So it's only $59, but with my code Gjeebs, you'll save an extra 10% and get free shipping. So I highly recommend this whether you have a Tesla Model 3 or Y. And then you come over to the Z. The Z actually has a ton of space back here. Like, compared to the Toyota Supra, this is way better if you actually need to store stuff such as golf clubs. You will easily be able to fit all of that back here, where the Supra, it is really tight. So again, the Model 3 here kind of takes the cake in terms of the best of both worlds. The Corolla is by far the worst. Let's check the legroom. Again, I'm 6 feet tall. Hey, it's actually not terrible. I thought this was going to be way worse. Beautiful Alcantara suede center lining here. So that's all really nice. All right, first drive here. This is the first time I've used this chest strap. Feels like I have some type of breastfeeding device on me, but it's just a chest strap. We are in sport mode. We're gonna drive the Corolla first. I love this thing. I mean, this thing, you know, it just does it. If you know how to drive a manual transmission, this is so fun to drive. So again, all-wheel drive. They upgraded the torque on this from 273 to 295. Previously, only the Morizo edition got that torque. Now this does. One thing that shocks me about the Corolla right out of the gates is the suspension. It's very compliant, way more compliant than I would have thought. It's not an adaptive suspension, but they've reworked it for this 2025 model, and it just works. It's the perfect amount of comfort and sportiness for the road. And again, it only has 18-inch wheels, but you can't really get much bigger on a Corolla. And the shift feel and the clutch feel is so good. And then the display in front of me here, it's just all set up really nicely. So what does the Corolla do better than the other two vehicles? It's visibility. This thing is so small and tossable. Great visibility out of the mirrors, I love the carbon roof on this thing. Everything in here is just stripped down. They've upgraded the infotainment system. That looks great. The screen, it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but it's kind of like, who cares? And it also has a JBL sound system that sounds good. And there's enough space in the back. But that's not why you're buying this car. You're buying it because you want to drive. And this has the IMT transmission. I think that stands for Intelligent Manual Transmission. And so it will do rev matching downshifts for me, or I can just hit the button and turn it off. So I love that they have the feature. I love that they make it easy also to turn it off. So we'll do a little acceleration pull. And the exhaust, that's what the one thing that the Z lacks is the Z lacks a loud exhaust. At lower speeds. You really have to run that thing out to enjoy the exhaust, whereas this is just kind of ready to rip and rumble at all RPMs. Now, I will say, where I'm at, it's over 100 degrees right now, so it just popped this warning up earlier that said, don't do continuous acceleration pulls because of the temperature outside. So it does feel pretty lethargic right now, but my goodness, and then you hear that turbo. This is, I mean, it's such a fun car to drive. The steering wheel is perfect. It's the perfect size. It disappears over the horizon here so you can perfectly see what's in front of you. I have the screen set up here to show what gear I'm in. You can customize this. It's really a rally car for the road. And also, we don't get the STI anymore. We don't get the Evo. Those days are gone, sadly. This is what that is. This is the continuation of it. And these aren't depreciating much because there's a high demand for these in the secondhand market. So this is such a good driver's car. The downsides of it are that it's expensive. You know, you're touching on $50,000. And it's truly just for enjoying driving. You have to really like driving to want to purchase one of these because you're closing in on that's expensive to me. $50,000 for a Corolla. Now, it's not just any Corolla. It has a forged carbon roof, forged wheels. They've done a ton to the engine, and it's like truly is a rally car for the road. Love the seats. The seat comfort's good. They're not overly done. All the seats in all three of these cars, the Model 3, you know, whatever you're driving, they're all really well done. It does have heated seats. There's just a little button that you flick on there, and then you can change the drive modes. It's also interesting in track mode, you can give it a more of a front wheel drive bias, or you can give it a rear wheel drive bias. So I thought that was interesting, maybe depending on what track you're on or what you're trying to accomplish. So yeah, this is a blast to drive. And of the three cars, this is the most raw experience. So if you're looking for something that when you get in, you're not worried about the technology, you want it to take you back in time, that's what the GR Corolla is for. But on a daily basis, you could daily drive this as well. The seats are comfortable enough. It gets decent miles per gallon if you can stay out of boost at 28 miles per gallon on the highway. You have your Apple CarPlay, you have your JBL audio system, you have heated seats. So you have some creature comforts in here that make it nice. You're also gonna attract a bunch of dudes with this thing. No lady is gonna get in this and go, wow, do you want to come over and take my pants off? You know, so you're not gonna say that. So yes, so the Corolla, what are we going to award it in this review that we're doing? The Corolla is the athlete that goes to the gym. They're on a strict diet. They don't skip leg day. They're the all-around dedicated professional athlete. That's what the GR Corolla is. It is just truly dedicated to being a driver's car. Everything that you want out of a driver's car, good feeling shifter, good brake feel, good exhaust sound and engine and performance and all that stuff. It does all of that really well, and it flies under the radar. No one really knows what this is. They just see the Toyota badge and Corolla and they're like, okay. So you're not gonna impress anyone, but you're gonna have a great time driving it. One other note I'd like to make, a bump like this, you don't dread it. Like a lot of sports cars, when you come up on a speed bump, you're like, boom, you hit your head off the ceiling. This one, here, got another bump coming up here. This one, it just, I don't know, it's nicely done how the rebound is when you go over those
those speed bumps. So that just a minute note, but just I thought worth telling you if you live in an area with a bunch of speed bumps. Look, I try to cover everyone, okay? I try to cover everyone's situation here at the Gjeebs organization. All right, let's go drive the Nissan Z.
But before we drive this Nissan Z, we should take a look at your online security with today's video sponsor, Delete Me. Delete Me is a hands-free subscription service that will remove your personal information that's being sold online. Since I started using Delete Me 2 years ago, they have scanned thousands of listings with my information like phone number and address and removed it from 28 sites, saving me a ton of time and keeping my information private. Delete Me starts by having you fill out a profile of your name, common spellings, your phone number, address, or previous addresses you've lived at to find your information that data brokers are selling. These data brokers organize your data and then license it to sell to other data brokers or organizations who can profit from your data. Delete Me will generate your first report, and it can take a few days all the way up to a month to get your information removed from the internet. The best part is they keep removing your information every 3 months when it pops up on websites. Plus, as more data brokers' sites pop up, Delete Me will add them to their list and make sure your information is removed. I just received my 8th report showing where my information has been removed from and where they are working on getting it removed. So Delete Me is offering Gjeebs viewers 20% off Delete Me US consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/Gjeebs20 and use promo code Gjeebs20 at checkout, and there's also a link for international plans. Delete Me, thank you for sponsoring this video.
So the Nissan Z, this thing is actually fast. Like, this puts you back in your seat. The Corolla is like, it's quick. That's the perfect comparison. It's quick, it rips around, also, I keep my foot catches on the clutch almost every time. I have a size 11 shoe. I don't have like oversized feet or anything, and it catches every single time. Like, this thing, that was a terrible shift, but this thing rips. 400 horsepower. But man, I guess, yeah, 100 more over the Corolla, you're gonna feel it. And then to think that the Model 3 Performance has 500 horsepower and all-wheel drive. But in my opinion, 400-ish is around where you want to stop shifting yourself when you're an amateur driver like me. Like, once you get beyond that, I feel like you should have to go to some sort of class on how to control that amount of power. But maybe that's just me. Yeah, this thing is just crazy. Now, what I like about it when you're sitting on the cabin, again, another good steering wheel here, sporty design. You have your display over here. It has Apple CarPlay, and then you have your tachometer right in front of you. You have the range on the car. You have what gear you're in. That changes as you shift. And then you can kind of customize these gauges. So I have G-force. So you have tire pressure, boost, G-force, and then you can click into your settings. So we'll do boost. And then you have these manual gauges up on the dash, that's a throwback. I love that. That's from the 90s. It's probably from earlier than that, but I'm not, I'm not that old. This thing just has, it's a little numb, but it does have that traditional twin turbo V6 sound from Nissan. It's a little more like luxurious than I think I would want it to be. Now, I have reviewed the Nismo Z on this channel, and I absolutely loved that thing because it was raw, it was loud, it was exactly what you wanted it to be. It was more like the GR Corolla. This is almost like it's too soft in areas, and at low speeds, you cannot hear the exhaust at all, and you're like, okay, am I on the clutch enough, or am I giving it enough gas? It's a little confusing. Now, I say that, but I don't own the car. So if I owned the car, I would get used to that and figure it out. But yeah, it's just it's a little, more numb for a sports car than I'd want it to be. But some people may really like that. It's so quick. And it's like sliding. There is so much confidence in this car, the way that it's set up. I see why they use these as drift cars, because look, I'm a safe driver. I'm not a track experienced driver, but I feel like in less than 30 minutes, I could comfortably learn how to slide this around turns like a professional. It is and that's what's great about rear wheel drive. The other two cars in this review are not rear wheel drive, and there's just something free and fun about that. Yeah, it's just a quick car. The way that the power builds is really exciting. And like I said, it's a little soft. Some suspension work could probably go a long way in this thing just to tighten it up if that's what you want. But if we're talking about for a daily sports car, a daily driver, maybe that's why it's soft. So you kind of give everyone everything they want. And then if you want the raw experience, go with the Nismo Z. Just go with that. But what an interesting thing to drive these back to back. Really opens your eyes up. I still like the transmission best in the GR Corolla. You can just slam that thing into gear and it has like a built gearbox feel to it. It has a little whine to it, and this is just you're guessing a little bit as to where you're at. Man, this is so fun to drive. You know, my initial driving of this, I didn't think it was as fun as the Corolla. You have to work less hard for the power in this, whereas the Corolla, it's fine if you're going normal. If you drive aggressively, you really have to get into it, and that engine seems to overheat quickly. So that's interesting. So we'll do a little highway pull. Yeah, the thing just rips. It's just really, the suspension's more loose than I would have thought. So man, I gotta say that Nissan did a nice job of making the the display in front of me here actually nice to look at. That's a nice upgrade. And this center screen is fine. You would think, I would always think like Nissan, Japanese company, you think they would have this advanced tech. And it's like in cars like their flagship car, the GTR, they like haven't updated the infotainment screen since it came out in 2009. And it's like, you guys have such a good car, just keep upticking the technology with it. Or pull the technology out of it. Don't let it come with a screen. Do what Slate did and just have an area for your phone to sit. Drop the cost a little bit. People would love that. They use their phone anyways. You know, why invest in a system that's clunky and people aren't going to use and appreciate? Why not just rip it out? Put a perfect mount for a phone or iPad or whatever. I think that's a good idea. These seats, I love these seats. They're blue. It's also unique on the left side, you have all your manual adjustments. On the right side here, you have your front and back, and it's powered. So that's a cool feature. You have a real e-brake, got that. And you can fit golf clubs in the back. And if you're not subscribed to Gjeebs Golf, well, that's a problem. But I'm a huge fan of how this thing drives and how it feels. My only complaint is that it's weirdly soft and numb in some areas. There is one pretty large complaint. It's shockingly loud in the cabin of this car. The sound that comes up through the floor here is crazy right now. And I wouldn't have expected that. And I'm not on that bad of a road, but it's just like booming through my ears, and I just wouldn't have expected that. So something to note. So this is great. Rear wheel drive's a big deal if you like that. Just the feel that you get, the way you can rotate the car in a rear wheel drive car is really cool. But now to one of the ultimate values in performance cars, and that is the Tesla Model 3 Performance. Let's go jump in that. All right, folks, it's in insane mode. I gotta say, that pool didn't feel as, are we in it? No, we're in standard mode. I was like, that felt like the Nissan Z. There we go. There. I gotta say, it feels weird being in this thing compared to those other two vehicles. It is a shockingly different experience. And this is why I tell people, like, people get so caught up in what the car is powered by. Like, never in my lifetime did I think people would say, I love gas. I do like the smell of it, I'll admit that. But, like, yeah, this doesn't have the exhaust sound, and it doesn't have that visceral experience, but it delivers what you're after, power. It puts the power down here on Earth, and it propels you forward in a way that you'd have to pay a lot more. I mean, watch this, watch this. I mean, the thing rips. So while I was driving those other two cars, I had this cooling down, I had the cooled seats running, and the car, I get in it, and it's perfect. This is why the Model 3 Performance is that student athlete that gets straight A's. They're a good athlete, but they're not, You know, they're not the top dog. They're not the dude that smokes cigarettes and sets the school record running the 100-yard dash. But they're a good enough athlete to where you give them some respect. You're like 2.9 seconds to 60. You're like, okay, yeah, that is pretty good. And then it has these sports seats. It has track modes and drive modes, and you can adjust the track modes depending on what you're after. So if you're doing a sprint race, you can have more power up front. If you're doing an endurance race, you have less power, but better cooling to give you better thermal management and more consistent lap times. You also have staggered wheels on this thing. And as I previously showed, and I don't know why, I just made a YouTube short about this. People were like, this guy's lying. I put the stock, so the standard Model 3 comes with 18-inch wheels. I essentially put those wheels on this, and that gave me 12% more range. I've done this test. Kyle at Out of Spec has done this test. This is nothing new, and that's what you can get. You can turn this. You can benefit from putting smaller wheels on this so you can get all of the performance features, but then have the range of a long range. And I think that is so cool that you can switch that and make that big of a difference. You could also do it on a gas car. Gas cars just aren't as sensitive to those types of changes because filling up with gas, it's 3 minutes and you're done. Now the thing is, will you get bored of this? Is it a one-trick pony? You need to go test drive it for yourself because I drove an M2, I drove a Focus ST, I drove a Civic Si. Those were my 3 first cars, and I love those cars. But now I own a Model 3 Performance, and I love this thing. I'm excited to get in it and drive it. It would be the all-arounder. It would be, if you need one car to do everything, it's gonna be this. Second place would be the GR Corolla, third's the Z, just because it has 2 seats. This is such a good all-around vehicle, and don't let, oh, that's electric, that's gay. Like, these are so, they're such good vehicles. They're very safe. It has self-driving technology. It can park itself. The sound system blows anything out of the, almost everything out of the water. Doesn't matter the cost of the car. Maybe Porsche's Burmester sound system that's very good. This sound system is so good. The infotainment updates. It's, I mean, like 500 all-wheel drive horsepower, and you can actually get 2.9 seconds to 60 on the street if you wanted to. And on top of that, it's very efficient. So if I get a BMW M3, I get 270 to 290 miles out of the car. This gets the same, but the miles per gallon on that is terrible. This is efficient. This is cheap to run. You can charge, I charge this full at home for like $6. I mean, it's ridiculous. So my thing is, obviously you're spending a lot of money no matter which of these cars you get. You need to drive all of them. You absolutely need to drive a Tesla because you just walk into the dealership and say, oh, here's my license. And they don't ask you to like, well, we need a credit score and we gotta do this. And how about the desert? What kind of color do you want? You know, they don't bust your balls. They just let you experience the vehicle and let the car speak for itself. And if you like it, great. And if you don't, great. The direct ordering, I don't know. I think it's all really good. Now, if you are interested in buying a GR Corolla or you're interested in buying a Nissan Z, my friend Ben actually, he has relationships with a bunch of dealerships across the country and can get you a discount on those. So I will have his information linked below. The website's called Drive Ease, and my code that I have on the screen here will save you $100 off of your consulting call. So he can do like a free 15-minute consulting call, and then it's $1,000. But the thing is, he will save you more than what he's charging you to do all of this searching for you. And that doesn't just go for Nissan or Toyota. He can do almost any brand. So definitely reach out to him, check that out, because it's worth your time. These cars are pretty rare, and the fact that he can get discounts on them is awesome. So check them out. The Model 3 Performance, and hey, I got my Civic Type R floor mats in here, huh? How about that? This thing is an excellent all-around vehicle, and those other two are also great. I truly love it. Look, if I had all the money in the world, I'd own all of them. I would never not get a car because of what did that one president say? He said, "Don't judge a man by the." Don't judge a man. I'm gonna. Oh man, is this? I think it was Reagan. Don't judge a man by the, but by the sum of his actions, right? By the sum of his actions, and whether that's the Model 3 or the Z or the GR Corolla, don't judge it by the badge that it's wearing. Judge it by the feeling it produces inside of you, folks. And we'll end today's video on that. But if you want to see my 1-year update on this Tesla Model 3 Performance, click this video right here.